You're 5 years old. You open the cabinet under the kitchen sink, and instead of cleaning supplies like a normal house, there's a plastic bag full of plastic bags. You don't question it. You won't question it for another 20 years. That's just where the bags live. Your house doesn't look like your friends' houses. There are slippers at the door, not for guests, for everyone. Shoes inside? That's a crime. Your mom looks at your friend's sneakers on the carpet like he just committed a felony. She doesn't say anything. Her eyes do the prosecution, the sentencing, and the execution, all in one look. If looks could kill, your friend would have been buried in the backyard next to the tomato plants. The fridge is a museum of mystery. Containers with no labels. Foil-wrapped shapes from possibly before you were born. You're pretty sure one of them has achieved sentience, but you never throw anything away. Because wasting food in this house is a sin punishable by a 20-minute lecture about what your parents had to eat growing up. It was nothing. They had nothing. And they walked uphill. Both ways. And speaking of food, you never once come home to an empty table. Never. Not once in your life. You could walk in at 11 p.m. on a random Tuesday, and there's rice. There is always rice. Your mom could have a fever of 103 degrees, and she's still in the kitchen stirring something, acting like she's fine. You tell her to rest. She looks at you like you just suggested she abandon her post in a war. The medicine cabinet is a joke. One thing in it. One sacred, holy, apparently magical remedy that cures everything known to man. Headache? That jar. Stomach pain? That jar. Broken heart? Believe it or not, that jar. You could walk in with a bone sticking out, and your mom would reach for that thing before she'd ever call a doctor. And somehow, weirdly, it kind of works. Or maybe you just got scared into feeling better. Either way, you stopped asking questions. Your dad fixes everything himself. Everything. The sink, the car, the door that's been squeaking since 2004. He doesn't Google it. He stares at it for 10 minutes, disappears into the garage, and comes back with duct tape and a prayer. And that solution holds for 15 years. Because calling a repairman costs money. And in this house, paying someone to do what your hands can do is a personal insult to your ancestors. Sunday mornings, the phone goes on speaker. The kitchen becomes an international conference call. Aunties, uncles, cousins you've never met, all yelling over each other from 6,000 miles away. And then someone on the other end asks about you. Your mom grabs your arm, drags you to the phone. Say hello. Tell them what grade you're in. Tell them you miss them. You have never met these people in your life, but you perform, because that's what you do in this house. The thermostat is off limits. You could be shivering in a blanket, and your dad would rather hand you a second blanket than touch that dial. You want to eat out? Good luck. We have food at home, and you do. There is always food at home. But in this house, spending money on food when there's a fridge full of it is an act of war against everything your parents built. You're 8 years old, and you just got promoted, not at school, at life, because your mom just handed you a letter from the insurance company and said, "What does this say?" You're in 3rd grade. You don't know what a deductible is. You barely know what insurance is. But you sit at that table, sounding out words like premium and copayment and making your best guess. She nods like you just decoded the Rosetta Stone. You didn't give her the right answer. You made half of it up. But she trusted you with her whole chest. And that weight never fully leaves. By 10, you're fluent in a language no school teaches. Translator, negotiator, customer service rep, crisis manager. You're at the doctor's office explaining your mom's symptoms while she squeezes your hand under the table. You're at the bank trying to explain why a charge doesn't make sense, and the bank teller looks at you like you're wasting their time. But your mom is looking at you like you're the only person in the world who can fix this. No pressure. Parent-teacher night. You're translating your own report card, which, let's be honest, gives you a dangerous amount of power. He says, "I'm doing great, Mom." She beams. She does not know your math is a C-. You grow up fast when you're the bridge between your parents and the entire world. You're 11 negotiating with the landlord, 12 reading lease agreements, 13 sitting in a government office explaining paperwork to the people who raised you. And then there's the phrase, the one every child of immigrants has heard at least 500 times. We didn't come to this country for you to waste your life. It lands different every time. At 10, it's annoying. At 15, it's suffocating. At 25, it's the truest thing anyone has ever said to you. The roles reverse so quietly, you don't even notice it happening. One day you're the child, next day you're the oldest person in the room, and nobody gave you a manual for that. Nobody sat you down and said, "Hey, you're going to carry the weight of 2 worlds on your shoulders. Good luck." You hit 14, and something ugly happens inside you. Something you'll spend the rest of your life trying to make up for. You start getting embarrassed. by them. Your mom picks you up from school. She rolls down the window and yells your full name. Not your nickname, your full name. The one with 4 syllables that nobody in this country can pronounce. Your friends look over, and instead of feeling proud, you feel small. Your dad comes to your school event. He's wearing his work clothes because he came straight from his shift. He smells like labor, like a 12-hour day in a country that wasn't built for him. And you wish, just for 1 second, that he looked like the other dads. The ones in khakis, the ones who coach soccer and know all the teachers by first name. You don't say it out loud, but you think it, and it sits in your stomach like poison. You start correcting their English, not to help them, to manage the situation. It's not the Walmart, Mom, just Walmart. She laughs. She always laughs. She doesn't know you're not joking. You're managing them, curating them, sanding down the edges of their foreignness so it fits neatly into your world. You're embarrassed by the accent, the food they pack you for lunch, the way they pronounce your teacher's name, and you don't realize how cruel that is until it's way too late. Your parents start sentences with, "back in my country," and you roll your eyes so hard you nearly strain something. You've heard the speech 1,000 times. The walking, the poverty, the sacrifice. It goes in one ear and out the other. You'll think about that speech later, and it won't be funny anymore. It'll be the only thing you want to hear. You're older now, maybe 18, maybe 22. It doesn't matter when. The moment comes for everyone. You're home for the holidays, sitting at that kitchen table, the same one where you translated those letters, the same one where Rice was always waiting. And your dad tells you a story you've never heard before. He tells you about the day he left, how he packed one bag for his entire life, how his mother stood at the door and said nothing, because if she opened her mouth, she would break, how he sat on a plane next to strangers and flew toward a country he'd never seen, with a language he barely spoke and a name nobody could pronounce. He was 23 years old, the same age you are right now. Your mom's still at the stove. She adds her piece, quietly, the way she always does. She tells you about the first winter, how the cold wasn't just weather, it was loneliness wearing a coat. How she'd call her mother from a payphone and pretend everything was fine. How she cried in the bathroom with the water running so you wouldn't hear. How she learned the word kindergarten by reading it off the building where she dropped you off every morning. How she smiled at other parents, even when she couldn't understand a single word they said, because smiling was the one language that didn't need translating. And you're sitting there, at that table, and for the first time in your life, you're not translating their words, you're feeling them. Every single one. You think about every time you were embarrassed, every correction, every eye roll, every time you wished they were different. And then you look in the mirror one day and you see them. You see your dad in the way you fix things yourself before calling anyone. You see your mom in the way you cook too much food when someone visits. You catch yourself saving a plastic bag and folding it into a smaller bag. And you laugh because you finally get it. You're not becoming them. You already are them. The best parts of you were theirs all along. Every double shift, every jar of that mystery cure, every plastic bag saved under the sink, every plate of rice that was somehow always ready, no matter what time you walked in. It was never about them. It was always, always about you. Your dad's done talking. Your mom turns from the stove. She puts a plate in front of you. Rice, obviously. She doesn't say, "I love you." She never does. She never had to. She's been saying it with rice your entire life. And you eat, not because you're hungry, but because you finally understand. Every bite was a sacrifice, every meal was a prayer, and every single day in this house was a love letter written in a language you were too young to read. You look up, you want to say, "Thank you, I'm sorry, I see you now," but your throat is tight and the words won't come. So you just eat, and that's enough. It's always been enough. You don't understand the gift until you're old enough to unwrap it. And when you finally do, you realize it was never wrapped in paper. It was wrapped in sacrifice, in silence, and in a cabinet full of plastic bags that somehow meant, "I love you."